Hi, I'm Jennifer Bardot, and we are on the Grit Talk Show, and I'm excited today to have Laura as my guest. She's a contributing author in Tenacity, which was the 5th anthology in the Deconstructing Grit collection, all international bestsellers. Yes. So before we get started with questions, I wanted to introduce Laura in regards to her bio. So Laura is a CFRE and is an experienced fundraising leader, and she's an international best-selling author, mother, and wife. So outside of your bio, who is Laura?
So I am someone who is passionate about community, making sure that I leave the world a better place than it is now. And I think that's something that permeates everything I do in my personal life and my professional life. So as a mother, raising my 2 boys to be successful, confident, contributing community members, and then even into the work that I do in our community with fundraising.
So tell me more about your work. What impact do you make in the community?
Yeah, so my work has primarily been centered around healthcare and education equity. Over the last 15 years in my career, I've worked for some amazing organizations in St. Louis. We are a very philanthropic community in terms of our donors who live here, but also the organizations that are available to support our community needs. And I've been fortunate to work with many incredible organizations, and I have realized that my passion really lies in healthcare and education equity. Those are things that are fundamental rights. Everyone should have access to quality healthcare and quality education, regardless of their circumstances in life. And so that led me to my current role at Mercy Health Foundation, where I help oversee our annual giving efforts, and I get to interact with our Women's Giving Society, which is something I'm also very passionate about.
That's incredible. Well, I love the impact and your intentionality in regards to making sure that everyone has access to care, and by doing that with your work. And I had the pleasure of speaking at your symposium last year with Jackie Joyner Kersey, and it was incredible. So tell us more about what this is going to look like for this year.
Sure. So we have our second annual Women's Symposium coming up on Thursday, May 2nd, and we have really tried to hone in on women's healthcare and how we as women can take care of ourselves. I think that we find that we tend to take care of everyone else, whether that's children, a partner, parents, friends. We are taking care of everyone else and maybe not spending as much time devoted to our own care. So we've been really trying to focus in on the wellness wheel and how you have to take care of all those aspects of your life, whether that's your mental health, your social health, your financial health. And you really, spoke to that last year, talking about grit. So this year we have a focus on behavioral health, financial literacy, and Shayla Ford is actually coming to speak about Fear Means Go and how you identify your fears. I think we all have fears that hold us back. How do you name those and acknowledge those and then use those to propel you forward? So it's going to be a really great day. I invite anyone to come join us. It's open to the public. You can learn a little bit more about Mercy Health Foundation and our Women with a Mission Society, and come away with some really good takeaways and reminders to take care of yourself too.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. I remember that day really impactful because that's when the Surgeon General had just diagnosed the loneliness epidemic, and that was pretty much the reasoning behind why I wanted to curate these anthologies to help create hope, and you're doing that work daily with your women's group. So that's incredible. Yeah. And Shayla is a contributing author in Intention, so it's a full circle moment.
It is a full circle moment.
Yeah.
It's just such a great community. I feel like, my experiences with the Grit community have touched so many parts of my life, whether it's, through my involvement with Focus St. Louis and the Women in Leadership program to my professional life. It's just nice to see all of those connections and women supporting women and lifting each other up.
I love it. So talking about grit, you chose to participate in Tenacity. So tell me a little bit about your chapter.
Yeah, so my chapter really talks about my running journey. And I say that as someone who never identified as a runner. I was the girl who loathed the presidential fitness test in elementary school. I didn't enjoy it, any part of it. And something kickstarted in me after I had my son. And I have to make a correction because in my chapter, I actually said after I had my son in 2011, he was actually born in 2012. Sorry, Jack.
I'll have to fix that.
Every book I sign, I have to update that because he was actually born in 2012. I digress. But after I had him, there was something in me that I had just met other women who ran, and the way they spoke about it and what it meant for them, I thought, maybe I should give this a try. And so I started with the Couch to 5K program, and it inspired me. It lit a fire in me to push myself farther than I'd been pushed before. But I think what I learned from that experience, and I talk about this in my chapter, is that my running journey was always more about my mental strength than my physical strength. my brain would give out long before my legs did. My brain would say, you're tired, and just, oh, you've got a cramp in the side, or your legs are cramping, slow down, stop. And for me, challenging that and challenging my brain to say, hey, no, we're going to run to that next trash can, or we're going to run to that light pole, really helped me frame that confidence and tenacity for everything else that I do too. And it's really about pushing yourself a little bit beyond your comfort zone, and also just taking things like step by step and little by little until you get to that next point. And then almost always, once I would get to that next landmark, I'd keep running. So, since that time, I've done 5 half marathons, countless 5Ks, 10Ks. And it came at a really pivotal time for me too, because my dad was also diagnosed with a terminal illness. And so I had people tell me, maybe you should stop training for that half marathon. And I thought, if I do that, that is giving me my clarity, my sanity in a very tumultuous, emotional time. And I actually did my first half marathon about 5 weeks after my dad died. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah. I love that you knew what you needed during those times and you decided to push through, even though outsiders, or I call them naysayers, were telling you otherwise. Yeah. It's really important that we listen to the things that are telling us what we need to be doing inside.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it was powerful.
So when else in your life have you been tenacious in regards to your leadership journey? You have this incredible career at Mercy Hospital and you lead this amazing women's organization.
Yeah. I think that it always comes back to my confidence and my belief in myself. And when I think back to why did I not like running when I was in elementary school? And I think it was just a way to mask a lack of self-confidence. And so I kind of keep going back to that moment when I did my first 10K or my first half, and realize I can do anything if I put my mind to it, right? And if I believe that. And so my favorite quote by R.S. Gray is, she believed she could, so she did. And I have a tattoo on my foot that says believe. And so that I remember every step forward, you can do anything you set your mind to. And so I use that in my professional life, in my personal life, when things are hard, or, there's a challenging fundraising goal. It's you can do this, you can do hard things. And it's just that constant reminder and that refrain of, she believed she could, so she did.
That's cool. So I always call it embracing your inner cheetah, and you've definitely done that over and over again. So how can people get more involved with your women's organization? How can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So they can certainly find me on LinkedIn, or go to mercyhealthfoundation.net, and they can select the St. Louis community. And we've got a lot of information on our Women with a Mission program. It's a really incredible group of women who come from diverse backgrounds and diverse experiences, with the common goal of making sure that everyone has access to quality healthcare. And what I love about this group is that there is a financial commitment to support Mercy Health Foundation, but this group of women votes on how to allocate that money back to the hospital. So this past December, we allocated almost $140,000 back into Mercy Hospital to fund things that may not otherwise be funded. And so it's really special to hear from those departments, and then to have our women's group rally behind these projects. So we would love to have everyone come to our May 2nd symposium. It's at our virtual care center in Chesterfield, but certainly reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to connect and share more.
Amazing. So you've already shared a quote that's meaningful to you. Do you have any more words of wisdom to help people be a little bit more tenacious?
I also really love the one that well-behaved women seldom make history. So
that's the one that came to mind when I heard yours.
That is another one of my favorites. I think, you have to sometimes challenge the status quo. And I say that as someone who struggles with that. But, there's some power in that. And I think that you get results that way. And, I think that can be powerful too. I think that we have to use our voice and make seats at the table. Maybe if they're not already there, pull up a chair. And be there, be present, use your voice. I
hosted a G.R.I.T community panel yesterday, financial expert, and Debbie Corey said, do you know the 2 things that women are missing?
What's that?
Advocating for themselves and asking for what they need. So you just reiterated the importance of
100%.
pulling up the seat at the table, create your own if it's not there for you, and speak up.
Yeah, I actually went to an event many, many years ago. And there was a woman there from, I think, Gray Bar, and, obviously in a male-dominated industry. And she's the one that said that. She said, it hasn't always been easy for me, but I always make sure that I pull up a seat if there's not one already. And it stuck with me. I was like, yes, absolutely, you should do that. Don't wait for the invitation. Yes, that's nice, but pull up a seat and and be present. So
Well, since knowing you, I've seen you pull up a seat. You were one of the first to sign up for our Audibles when we converted the chapters into Audible, and all about participating in the anthology and
truly
all of the things.
it
So
was kismet when I saw you speak and we connected.
yes.
It was awesome.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
having me.
It's incredible to have you in the Deconstructing Grit Tenacity edition and getting to know you even more on a more personal level.
Likewise, thank you for all you do for our community.
Thank you, Lara.